Alrighty, folks, it is time for the fourth and final Swiss round of Grand Prix Everrime, the final Standard Revolution Grand Prix of 2025, and the third of the Exalted Twill season. We're up against Itai Ukul on Blue Black Flash this time. Itai sort of deciding to represent our soon to depart Awakening in Uldune's core theme for Blue and Black, which is these permanents with flash and instants otherwise, with a deck that is entirely at instant speed. So our opponent is also going to be playing exclusively on our turn for the most part, much like we will be. They've only got 8 creatures here between 4 copies of Blind Keela. Pretty reasonable 2-mana 2/1 with Flash. Can sort of ambush one of our creatures to just sort of kill it in combat if needed, and can also once each turn try and like ping us for 1 and surveil 1 as they cast spells on our turn if it does not just immediately die. This is actually something that could be reasonable for them to play at sorcery speed, because if it enters on their turn, they can still get 2 triggers in a turn cycle by then playing something on our turn from there. Otherwise, Keela is limited to once a turn cycle because it's not going to be entering constantly. There's 3 copies of Ribora Goliath, a pretty iconic control win condition at this point. 8 mana 6/5 with flash that costs 1 less for each permanent with flash you control and each instant card in your graveyard, and also has ward 2. This fell off a little bit this season in the absence of Theros Age of Tracks, specifically in the absence of the blue counter spells that set provided us. But Ribora Goliath does still have a lot of good going for it. And I mean, with 30 instants and 8 creatures with flash, Ribora Goliath's going to have a lot of goodies to lean on there. And then finally, Sifleer Elder Pawn as a 1/of. 3 mana 3/2 legendary human wizard with flash. Whenever you cast Sifleer or another spell, if you paid an alternate or additional cost to cast it, you draw a card. So Sifleer does not draw a card when he is cast naturally, but if you pay his wander cost for 3 and double blue, you will draw a card when you cast him from the battlefield, and he has flash, so you can do so at instant speed. You can do that to declare him as a blocker and then flash him out of harm's way as just sort of, 5 mana, prevent target creature from dealing combat damage to you, and you draw a card. And also, as you pay alternate or additional costs to cast your other spells, then Sifleer will work as well. Unfortunately, no Chant Warlocks from Exalted Twill. I believe those would be considered additional costs, so that would work with Sifleer, if I understand correctly, but they aren't here, so they're not going to be too relevant in that context. But we do have 30 instants here, a lot of stuff with flashback, so there are going to be some Sifleer triggers flying, such as with the one of All That Remains. 3 mana, just look at top 3, 1 into hand, rest into graveyard, and can flash it back for a single black mana and discard a card. I'm a fan of this card, but I understand why it's only a 1/of. Avert Disaster is 1 in double blue, costs 1 less if you have a card named Avert Disaster or Imminent Disaster in your graveyard. So with this in the bin, it makes your future copies proper counterspell. Otherwise, it is a cancel. They've got a lot of counter spells. So they've got the Avert Disasters. They have got not Erase from Existence. They've got Ribora's Appetite, 2 blue and a black for another hard counter spell that makes an XX blue and black fish creature token, where X is the total number of permanents with flash you control and number of instants in your graveyard. There is 2 copies of Unravel Thoughts, another 1 and double blue hard counter spell. That also has other modes. It's a cryptic command that only lets you choose 2 modes if your opponent has more cards in hand than you, which is usually not going to be the case in this matchup. So this is just going to be a flexible cancel against us. Overrule Thought, 1 in a blue, counter target spell unless its controller pays 2 mana, and then target player mills 3 cards. They'll usually target themselves for the sake of Ribora Goliath and their flashback spells. And I believe that is it for their counter spells. They've also got, Destructive Ambition. Blue and a black counter target monocolored spell. Its controller loses 2 life. Also very active in this matchup because we're a mono white deck. Only thing this doesn't touch is Tomer. So lots of counter spells in this matchup. They've also got a lot of removal, 2 copies of Downlink Overload to give a creature -2/-2 and mill its controller for 2 cards. Erase from Existence, 1 in a blue bounce spell, and then if they have 4 more instant and or sorcery cards in their graveyard, we instead would have to put the target to top or bottom of our library. Uh, Out with the old is 1 double black, exile target creature or planeswalker its controller loses 2 life. And Sovereign's Execution is 1 in a black, destroy target creature or planeswalker. They lose 3 life unless they've gained or lost life this turn. So lots of pinpoint removal as well. And then some card selection here. 3 copies of Seafloor Treasures, another good cast from Graveyard tool later on. Very similar to All That Remains in that you look at the top 2, put 1 in hand, 1 in the bin, and then you can surface it for 2 in a blue later on. And Discern, which is just single blue, draw a card, flashback for 2 in a blue. So I believe that is everything to do with the main deck. 22 lands here, split between some utility here. 2 copies of Murky Path for some cycling power. 1 Lost and Found as another card selection tool later on in the game. You can just discard it rather than playing it to go find a land. And 2 copies of Chasm of the Silent Covenant as a creature land for a bit of additional threat density. Their sideboard has some cards that are going to be good against us. Denotation Failure does have a lot of hits lower on our curve. Doesn't hit any of our top end things, but this does, give them a turn 1 on the play, checks to things like Radiant Devotee without needing to hold up removals per se. It gives them more answers to things like turn 1 Devotee, at least when they're on the play. Another copy of Downlink Overload is likely to come in as well. I could see Chronicle of Extinction being considered as well. Just -2/-2 is pretty relevant against our early boards. Otherwise, there's 2 copies of Thovius Edai, 2 copies of 3 Become 1, a third Out with the Old, 2 Golden Bloom of the Silenced, 3 Duress. I don't think any of those are really going to come in. Maybe Thovius as just, a grindy value tool, make us sacrifice 2 creatures could be pretty good. But at our end step means we do have some control over it. We could use our reprieve cards to kind of bounce things out of the way of that edict. Though if we're doing that, we are kind of still sabotaging our momentum on board anyways. So this is going to be a tricky matchup. We're up against probably the slowest of the decks that we're playing against so far. But this is our final match to see if we can make it into top cut. This is also, I believe, what I've come to refer to as a Dream Crusher match, which is to say this is only a top cut qualifier for one of the 2 of us. Itai is 1 win, 2 losses here. So Itai's whole goal here is just to make sure that they're not the only one missing out on top cut this month. And to that, I wish them the best of luck, because if we can't make it, we can't make it. I'm just thrilled to get to play this matchup. Thrilled to give Uldun one last chance in the spotlight before it rotates in January, and we'll see how this matchup fares. So without further ado, let's get into the games. Alrighty, hopping into game here in right now. Opponent is all set to roll, and 7 on the die roll. Highly likely opponent gets to go first here. We would rather them not, but hey, a 6 means we will get to go first. Alrighty. Not the most explosive hand here. Just a Plains and a Primal Fisher with Ambitious Angel, Onomastic, Harmonist, Line Warden. We can play everything but the Tomer. I'm going to keep this. Opponent has already fired off a mulligan to 6. Yeah, I'm gonna keep this on the back of just like Ambitious Angel into Line Warden before the opponent can do anything about our board state. It's not the most explosive start by any means, but these don't always have to be explosive hands. This does do enough for us. Opponent is keeping 6, put a card back, so we are good to go. I'm gonna hold off on the Primal Fisher for now. Both because we may find ourselves wanting to save this to go get our wastes, and we may find ourselves wanting to, not cut lands out of our deck with a Primal Fisher, because with only 20, we're down to 18 lands in deck. I'd rather not take it down to 17 in terms of the math on our odds for now. Of course, granted, there's no guarantee that we've got a land in the next several cards, but still, We will draw a Resolute Reinforcement, so that does give us some options. We could play out Blessed Line Warden here, or we could hold up the reinforcements. I'm gonna just go for the Line Warden here. I will crack the Fissure. I will just go get a Plains now. Go for the Line Warden. So if the opponent has a downlink overload, they need to fire this off now, unless they are content just taking 2. But downlink overload only being a 2 of in the main means they're probably not going to have a response, and they do not have a response here. So Angel is now a 2/1 flyer with Ward 1. Let's go to combat and chip in for 2. Alrighty. Not the most high impact turn here, but opponent has a discern at the end of turn here. And we'll see what they have to deal with where we're at. One of the nice things about the Resolute Reinforcements here is actually just that, our opponent can try and hold up mana to counterspell our next thing, and we can just slip in Resolute Reinforcements when they drop their guard. Because they don't want to let their mana go to waste. They may deliberately do something at our end step, and then we can just flash in reinforcements in response to that. We untap and draw. We find Neostelia as land for turn, so that would have been the reason to go get the wastes. But the upside of drawing Neostelia here is that future draws of Consume the Divine are now live. So we'll play Neostelia as land for turn. Go to combat. And ship in for 4. Opponent, I have a response. Opponent cracking the Primal Fissure. I'm just going to say that now is the time. I'm just going to flash out reinforcements now while their shields are down. I could wait a little bit longer, see what they might have to do here, but I'm just going to slip it in under counter magic while I know the opponent can't respond. They get an island. Might be Sovereign's Execution on the Line Warden. They're going to get Blind Keela here. All right. So we take 1 from Keela entering. Notably, cannot profitably block the Blessed Line Warden here. At least not on its lonesome. They've been in Avert Disaster. Okay, so Avert Disaster is now online. Has flying. Yeah, they're just going to take the 4. Alrighty. So we pass from there. And that is the benefit of these 1-drops, We just get to slip them through. Not much they can do about it. I may not swing in with the Resolute Reinforcements. We'll see what they do with the Blind Keela. I imagine they hold it back to play defensively, but I'm inclined to lead on Softlight Harmonist here before I go to combat. Just for the sake of giving ourselves a window for our opponent to try and pick off the reinforcements beforehand. Because I don't want to risk reinforcements in combat. I don't want it to trade with Blind Keela. We will untap. We will draw a Coalesced Mesa is the pickup here. That's interesting. So we're now live to cast Tomer, but I don't think I want to risk things yet. Let's run out the Coalesced Mesa. Let's just go for the Softlight Harmonist. See if they have a response. Opponent says okay. Would like to pick up the Resolute Reinforcements. That is an as it enters, so they cannot respond to it from there. On enter, I would like to target Ambitious Angel. Can I respond to target? You can respond to enter trigger The Reprieve is a replacement effect that doesn't target. Yeah. So the important thing there is that, like, if you want to pick off the Resolute Reinforcements in response to the Soft Light Harmonist, you have to kill it before I know what I'm picking up with Harmonist. Um, okay. They say all good. We put a counter on the Ambitious Angel and set annotation here. Harmonist has Ward 1. I would like to go to combat. We are going to chip in with this. Opponent could have downlink overload or some sort of removal for Line Warden here. Looks like it's going to be out with the old on the Line Warden. So we're going to lose 3 here because of the Blind Keela. This gets exiled. And they're going to surveil 1. They've been a Sifleer Elder Pawn. So there is the one of Sifleer out of here. Go to blocks, see if they want to block here. They're just going to take 5? It's just 3, yeah. Okay, so damage is dealt. Main 2. I'm just going to go ahead and run out the Resolute Reinforcements now. Make another soldier and pass, and let's get the annotations cleared up here. Alrighty. And, I mean, we've got Neostelia rolling here. We've got 4 soldiers in play, so we're pretty comfortable just in that regard. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Take them to 3. Chasm of the Silent Covenant, almost capable of being animated from here, but not quite at that point yet. I will say, it's 8 if they block, presumably reinforcements. It is 10 if they have no blocks. They're going to do something on main phase 1. They're going to seafloor treasures here. Interesting. So that does kind of leave them out of some options, but I suppose they were just kind of digging at instant speed, trying to find a land drop, would be my best guess. And with them pausing, it makes me think they maybe are not looking at lands here. It's possible they're not looking at lands. Either that or they're looking at 2 lands and they're choosing which one is better for them. Okay, they're bending an Enigmatic Fen. This tells me they probably had to choose between 2 lands. Getting the shock land is probably not as valuable here. Or maybe it was a shock land versus a downlink overload. Overload would be a reason to miss a land drop, I think, given this current position. But, of course, if they miss a land drop, we are clear to resolve a Tomer. It is a land. It is a tapped Murky Path, so the window is open. We can resolve Tomer here. We are going to untap and draw another Coalesced Mesa as land for turn. I think we're going to hold the Mesa for a second. We don't have a lot of reasons to try and jump up to 6 mana. Let's go to combat here. Ship in with the squad. We don't have to commit to Neostelia yet. They are going to trade with Resolute Reinforcements, so we get in for 5, kill the Blind Keela. I'm cool with just getting in for 5 here. Main 2, I will play the Coalesced Mesa, because like if we draw a land, that lets us play Onomastic and still use Neostelia. And run out a Tomer Figurehead President. And pass. So as far as Rebora Goliath goes, it's currently reduced by 4. Cards with flash in graveyard don't count. It is only permanents with flash and instants in graveyard. But they do have enough cards in graveyard to surface a seafloor treasures. That being said, that is 3 of their 4 mana. I'm not sure they're going to be super keen on doing so. We are also getting to see a little bit of the value of just Tomer being a 4/4 here. Like, they are almost always going to spend removal or use a blocker to get rid of Tomer here compared to something else. Wow, 3 mana for just an all that remains from hand. Oof. Can't imagine you'd be super keen on doing that here. So top 3. Get 1 to hand, 2 into bin. Opponent says GG. And that is game 1 wrapped up. Don't need it to be explosive, just need it to be decent. Alrighty. Going into game 2 here, I really think it is just down to Gentle Grasp. I think, like, you know, just having a bit of stack interaction is nice. We could also... Golden Bloom is actually not that important. So Golden Bloom's not very important. Primordial Gateway is just aggressively unimportant. Sanctum of Repression, pretty unimportant. Plasma Strike, pretty unimportant. Cloud 9, pretty unimportant. So it really is just like Gentle Grasp would be the only thing we could look at boarding in here. I think I do like making some room for Gentle Grasp. I think it's going to be at least 2 Onomastics down. They've just got such a split of like 2s and 3s, and like the only 4-ofs are ever Disaster Discern and Blind Keela. And, you know, they can go up to a 3rd copy of Downlink Overload. They can go up to a 3rd copy of Out with the Old. But like they're not really going to have things we want to onomastic. So I'm actually just going to go down the 3 onomastics, and it's mostly a puzzle of can I justify cutting the 4th? What would I cut for the 4th onomastic? What would I put in for the 4th onomastic coming out? Like maybe Cloud 9 just is a little bit more pressure, but that does not sound super exciting. I think I'm just going to rock it with 1 onomastic, 3 Gentle Grasps. Opponent's presumably going to be on the play. 3 lander. Ambitious Angel, Containment Seraph, Aegis of Grace. It's not the fastest start, but I'll rock it. Again, we don't need it to be super explosive. We just need it to be stable. And this is pretty stable. One additional land means we can cast the Aegis of Grace into a counterspell, undoubtedly, but, you know, still cast an Aegis of Grace. That is pretty important. We draw a Plains. I like running out the first Primal Fissure here, but I do like that now we can save this second Primal Fissure for finding our wastes, so we can get Neostelia untapped in the future. Yeah, I want to use the first Primal Fissure here. Crack it. Go find a Plains. Just run out an Ambitious Angel. Opponent says, okay, and we pass. See if they've got the Downlink Overload. They are cracking it in step. And that's not going to be a Downlink Overload. Discern? Yup. It's one of the 4-ofs. Alrighty. Opponent getting their second land drop here. Temple of Origins. It's pretty effective here for just kind of fixing their mana. They've got double blue up. They've also got blue and a black up. We could avoid playing into Overrule Thoughts by just going for nothing this next turn. But I see no reason to be too cautious. If they want to spend 2 mana to counter a 1-drop, I am cool with that. 3rd Plains means all the more reason to use Primal Fissure for that wastes. We're going to go ahead and play out the 2nd Plains. Let's go to combat and swing 1. And 2nd Ambitious Angel. Got a response. Want to counter my 1-drop? When it says K. Blind Keela coming down here. All right, we will take 1. I was expecting something like a Seafloor Treasures, but Blind Keela is the most desirable play for them, I think, in this spot, so... Hmm. They did keep the card on top. Cracking Primal Fissure now is interesting. Is it possible that they're looking to just fire off an out with the old Unambitious Angel to clear the way? I think that's incorrect if they do so. They swing in. Do we make this block? Like, what's the consequences of making this block besides losing the Ambitious Angel, which we know is going to happen anyways? Like right now they have a faster clock than we do. That is true. But at the same time, like we have 3-drop, 4-drop here. Seraph is actually really good here if we don't go for the block. It just requires the Seraph to resolve, and there's no guarantee the Seraph resolves. They do only have Discern up from their graveyard. Let's take a moment here. So they could have All That Remains, Avert Disaster, Destructive Ambition, Discern. Like they have most of their deck available to them right now. It's just the 3 Rabora's Appetite and the 1 Sifleer. Or sorry, the 3 Rabora's Appetite and the 3 Rabora Goliaths, rather, that aren't available to them. I don't imagine they kept Sifleer in. I wouldn't be surprised to learn they cut Rabora's Appetite as well. So trying to think about specific cards that we'd be playing around here is pretty narrow. I think they value the Keela more than we value a 1-drop, though. Because if we do this, reset the board, we put them in the position of needing to deal with our things. And I'd like them to be having to deal with our things. Alrighty, Keela down. They pass on over. We'll untap and draw a Resolute Reinforcements. That is perfect here. All right. Primal Fissure as land for turn. We just go to combat. They can tap 3, flashback this Discern. And we will just flash in Resolute Reinforcements while they do that. Cool. And now we can just crack this Primal Fissure at any time, go find our one of Wastes. They do lose out on the instant in their graveyard, so now Rabora Goliath's back to costing 8 rather than 7, though I don't think they're in a position to be rushing out the Goliath either way. All right, Swamp and Pass. So if they had Chronicle, they did not play it here. I meant to do it at end step, but I'll just do it on upkeep. Let's go find that Wastes. Draw another Containment Seraph. We'll play out of Plains. Go to combat. Ship in for 3. So this is a reasonable clock here. Opponent's tapping 3. Sifleer Elder Pawn. Okay. So they're going to get to eat Resolute Reinforcements here. They do take 2. And we are now clear to resolve one of either Containment Seraph or Aegis of Grace. I think I would just like to deny them the card advantage. Get this out of here. Send annotation to MV3. They do get some card advantage from it dying, but just exiled for good. Does not come back when Containment Seraph dies. Alrighty. Just as a reminder. Yep. I'm also tracking MV on the annotation, but seems reasonable. So when Seraph dies, they will get to gain 2 life, draw 2 cards, but pressure on board is alleviated. And we have burned through 2 out of their 8 threats already. Non including lands, of course, but. They did have the Chronicle of Extinction. All right. Well, Sifleer down. And yeah. Gain 2, draw 2. Bane of my existence. I am so ready for this card to rotate. They have a Temple of Origins tapped. Okay. Well, we will draw a Coalesced Mesa. We are flooding out here. We'll play Mesa, play Aegis of Grace, and pass. It's a pretty real card here. Let's see what our opponent has to say about it with a full grip. We will untap and draw. My goodness. I mean, we just do our thing. Sovereign's Executions, they will lose 3, but get rid of the Aegis of Grace. I mean, I think at that point we're just gonna run out the Containment Seraph for tempo. See if they have a response here. They say K. Oh, no. Another Sovereign's Execution, and they don't lose life because they've already lost life. Right, well, I'm not going to play out either of my cards in hand, because there's really no reason to reveal it to them. There's really nothing that it unlocks in terms of our capabilities. Yeah. Granted, this is not the strongest showing of Chronicle of Extinction here, but it's just sort of the knowledge that they could make it to 9 mana, and we just never win from there. I think, given the current game, if they make it to 9 mana, we are just dead anyways. We draw. I am gonna hold on to everything for now. We are flooding out super hard, though. We have seen 10 of our 20 lands, courtesy of 2 Primal Fissures in the bin. That is not where we want to be. 16 cards deep, having seen 6 threats. No thank you. 4 mana. Oh, my beloved. My beloved. Discard? Sure thing. Here's 2 cards out of my hand. I hate this card so much. Well, at the very least. You know, that's their second Chronicle of Extinction out of here. Yeah, we lose 2 lands. One step ahead of you. We untap, we draw. Radiant Devotee is not amazing, but it is something. We will play the Devotee. Do we have any reason to reveal what this card in hand is? No, I don't think so. I think all they had for hand attack was the 2 Chronicle of Extinctions, so I'm just going to hold Neostelia for now. I will start making land drops, though, once I start having 2 lands in hand. When it plays an untapped Enigmatic Fen is interesting. So shocking that in with 2 instants in graveyard. Oh boy, I wonder what Rubora Goliath this could end up being. We will untap and draw an Aegis of Grace. I mean, so here's the deal. We're going to play the Neostelia. We're going to play the Aegis of Grace. It's going to get countered, and then we can just swing in with the Devotee knowing that they can't play Rubora Goliath. Oh, no, we're just dead. Cool. Okay, so they didn't board out Rubora's Appetite or Sifleer. I apparently just don't know what this matchup's all about. I mean, I think we still stick to what we had. Opponent says, at least it's the last time for Chronicle. Oh, I've misinterpreted that. I said I couldn't be happier. I'm lying. I'd be happier if it was already gone. I misinterpreted it first, and I was like, well, no, I could be much happier. Just get Chronicle out of here. But I'd misinterpreted it as like, hey, at least we still have Chronicle. No. At least it's almost gone. I'll play. Oh, wait. Primal Fisher. Yes! Devotees with no angels. We love to see it. I mean, we'll keep this. This is turn 1 Devotee, turn 2 flash out reinforcements. Turn 3 potentially Convoke out a 4-drop if we draw one with Gentle Grasp as backup. So main 1, Primal Fisher, crack it. View library, Plains, Devotee. Ship on over. How do you feel about our Savannah Lions? Got the 1 mana removal spell? Temple of Origins. Downlink Overload does come out here, so we're going to mill Gentle Grasp and Aegis of Grace. Oh, actually heartbreaking mills there. So we will untap and draw Softlight Harmonist. Yeah, I think the play here is then going to be we play Wastes, we play out Resolute Reinforcements, or whoops. We play the Devotee. Uh-oh. They know we've got reinforcements in hand. I'm playing very well right now. Oh, they say they actually didn't see. Perfect. Will not look at logs. All right, yeah, we're going to pick up the Devotee for Harmonist, make it a 2-2. We cannot replay the Devotee because this wastes, but our Neostelias will be untapped next turn. Alrighty, what do you have for us now? Primal Fisher. Oh, the bane of my existence, a second land. We will untap and draw Ambitious Angel. We will play Neostelia untapped. Run out the Radiant Devotee, see if they want to counter this. They say K. I would like to tap this, convoke out Ambitious Angel. They say, yep. We swing in with the Harmonist, trigger, untap Radiant Devotee. They take 2, and we'll just chip on over. And we've got 2 different 2-drops held up here. Opponent asking if we have a response, knowing that we've shown Resolute Reinforcements in response to a Primal Fissure earlier. But we have no reason to run out the reinforcements here because we have Gentle Grasp up. I'm just going to say go ahead and take another turn to play that. For Blind Keela, yeah, I would like them to have to spend another turn cycle on this. So that is going to be stuck in purgatory for a second. They could go ahead and play it on their turn, go ahead and play it on my turn. But we'll see when they choose to do so. Either way, we keep them off board for a turn. It also is helpful to know that we are just not clear to swing in with Radiant Devotee anytime in the foreseeable forever. But, you know, we can make do. Opponent plays Chasm of the Silent Covenant and ships on over. We untap and draw. Second Devotee is interesting. Third Devotee, really. Man, milling that Aegis of Grace was really unfortunate. I mean, yeah, we'll go to combat. Swing in for 3, Devotee, trigger to untap the Ambitious Angel. Opponent takes 3. Main phase 2. We'll just go ahead and run out second Devotee. Opponent says, yep. Opponent is going to replay the Blind Keela here from the look of things. Pitching Seafloor Treasures. Pretty easy discard there. We will say K. Worst case scenario here is that they find one of their Chronicle of Extinctions. But if they find it, they find it. Destructive Ambition from the top of their library into their graveyard. And they will discern as well. I will say, this is one of those things where it's like, I almost wonder, because you intended to play Keela, obviously you want to hold up a counterspell in case I have something super explosive, but, you know, you could have maximized the Keela value by playing Keela on your turn and then discern on my turn to get 2 triggers this turn cycle. Granted, they do have 5 discounts on Rabora Goliath here between the Blind Keela in play and the 4 instants in bin. So Rabora Goliath does cost only 3 mana now. Let's see if you have it, they say. Oh, God, I hate this card so much! The bane of my existence. Actually awful. This really is a fitting way to end the final standard GP of Uldun being around, by losing to Chronicle of Extinction. I am gonna lose my mind. Of course, we draw a Angel to Convoke out now that we've lost 3 Devotees. Oh boy, oh boy. Yeah, I mean, the game's just gonna get run away now by our opponent. They've got enough to cast a Rabora Goliath here. We can't really meaningfully do anything about a Rabora Goliath, and it's going to start just eating up our tokens, our 1/1s. Dawn Hymn Herald needs 7 mana to adequately deal with a Rabora Goliath. Consume the Divine, which we can't cast because of the One of Wastes. Perfect. Perfect. Everything coming up according to plan. Oh my goodness. 4 mana. Yeah, I am of half a mind to just concede here. I don't think we can meaningfully beat a Rabora Goliath. We are 2 turns off of playing a Dawnhim Herald. We can't play Consume the Divine here. Yep, that's just GG's. Turns out all you need to beat me is 3 Chronicle of Extinctions. I can't wait for January. Get that card out of here. Well, I did say this was the Dream Crusher round, and unfortunately dreams have been crushed. No. Yes, sorry for the Dream Crush. Well played. Well played to you, too. Hard to justify the onomastic on a 2 of, but unfortunately it would have just been relevant in this matchup. Although our draws were really not favorable there either. Oh well. That brings our run to an end here. 2-2 with mono white devotee. And yeah. Anticlimactic and courtesy of my least favorite card in the goddamn format. Get this thing out of here. I am ready to see it go. Is it overwhelmingly overpowered? No, it's been toned down a lot. It used to be pretty ridiculous, but it has been reined back in a lot of ways. I still hate the degree of flexibility that it has. I will endlessly talk about how I think this is a little too flexible of a card because all of the modes are relevant to the same one strategy. And it like doesn't even demand that you have to lean into a strategy. You just need to be a deck that is slower in some capacity, and then the flashback just auto wins the game. I hate this card. I hate this card so much. I'm ready to see it go. I know it has seen less and less play as time has gone on. I know that has caused some people to go, oh, you know, it's really not that big of a deal. No, I hate it. I hate it so much. Get this card out of here. But yeah, this was still a fun run. It was a fun series of games here in match 4, in round 4. And yeah, we win some, we lose some. 2-2 means we still did ultimately kind of break even in terms of wins and losses. So better than I could have hoped for from a pretty shoddy white weenie deck here with some suspect deck building choices. We'll talk about that in the final thoughts. But until then, I hope you all have enjoyed this run, and I will see you all in the final thoughts. And in the Revolution chat in the meantime. Bye-bye.